Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Let us chant one round of Japa with Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminati Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve, Gauravani Pracharine, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रीमद् भगवद गीता एज इट इज की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, सामवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam for All session. Let's recite Bhagavad Gita Shloka. We are reciting Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 9, text 31. Today is Friday, so today is the last day we'll be reciting this verse. We'll learn a new verse on Monday. Anyone needs to go first? Yes, Priyanka Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances, Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Yes, Mataji.
Apicheta suduracharo.
Next one, Kshipram.
Shipram bhakti dharmatma shashvat shanti nigacchati konteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace.
O son of Kunti.
O son of Kunti, yeah. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. Thank you.
Thank you. Medha.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the Sabbath devotees.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Shipram bhavati dharmatma svaschanti
Shashvat
shashvachanti nigacchati kaunteya janiti name bhakta pranasyati. Translation. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. Thank you, Mataji. Maybe we'll join later, Mataji.
Okay. It is Jani Hi Mataji. H, not Janiti. Jani Hi.
Oh, Janihi. Okay. Yes, Mataji. On.
Okay. Next. Achintadev Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All grace to Srila Prabhupada, all grace to the assembled devotees.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhuji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please repeat, Prabhuji. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma
Shipram bhavati dharmatma,
shashvat chantim nigacchati
Shashvat shantim nigashati,
kaunteya pratijanihi
Kaunte a pratijanihi,
name bhakta pranashyati.
Name bhaktaha pranashyati. Translation. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. Thank you, Mataji. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Hare Krishna. Aditi Lata Mataji and Arunita.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Shipram bhavati dharmatma sasvatantam nagachati kanteya pratijanihi janihi name bhaktya pranashyati. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare boldly that my devotees never perish.
Yes.
Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Shipram bhavati dharmatma sashvak shantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhaktya pranashyati. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Translation.
Sorry, my bad. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Okay. Inba Inya, not here. Oh, they are here. Yes, go ahead. Inba Inya, Jai Ganesh Prabhu, Jai Shri.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
क्षिप्रं भवति धर्मात्मा शश्वत् शान्तिं निगच्छति कौन्तेय प्रतिजानीहि न मे भक्तः प्रणश्यति. Translation. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes.
Inya.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
क्षिप्रं भवति धर्मात्मा शश्वत् शान्तिं निगच्छति कौन्तेय प्रतिजानीहि न मे भक्तः प्रणश्यति. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare boldly that my devotee never perishes.
Yes. Mataji, Prabhuji, other.
I'm there. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Shipram bhavati dharmatma shashvak shantim nigachati kaunteya prati janiti
Janihi. H.
janihi name bhakta pranashyati. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. Thank you.
Thank
He
you.
isn't here. No.
Okay. No problem. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
Okay. Madhava, Rasapriya, Krishna Shri, Shisha. Rasapriya.
क्षिप्रं भवति धर्मात्मा शश्वत् शान्तिं निगच्छति कौन्तेय प्रतिजानीहि न मे भक्तः प्रणश्यति. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare boldly that my devotee never perishes.
Okay. Madhava is not here. Okay. Medha. Medha, you're ready?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Shikram bhavati dharmatma sasvat shantim nigacchati kantaya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Translation. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare boldly that my devotee never perishes.
Thank you. Kalpesh Prabhu and Sonia Mataji.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhuji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Shipram bhavati swashantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Sonia Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Shipram Bhavati Dharmatma, Sasvat Shantim Nigacchati, Kaunteya Pratijanihi, Name Bhaktaha Pranashyati. Translation: He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji. Hare Krishna. So Priyanka Mataji already recited. Suvarnangi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandas Pranams, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Shipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Translation: He quickly becomes righteous and attains the lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes.
Yes.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, then Vishnu Nam's all Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Shipram bhavati dharmatma swakshachintam nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Not there. Okay. So everyone has recited, right? And also recite Bhagavad Gita 9:31. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashvachantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhaktah pranashyati. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. So let's read Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 23. What is Chapter 23? The Lord returns the kingdom to the demigods. Is that? Let's see. The demigods regain. Yeah, the demigods regain the heavenly planets. So we saw Bali Maharaj offered prayers to Vamandev. What did Bali Maharaj say? He said that even simply by endeavoring to offer obeisances to you, I got a result which even the demigods cannot expect to get. Even such great demigods as Lord Brahma. You didn't show such mercy even to Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, or Lakshmi Devi. But you showed mercy. Well, sorry, that's not Bali Maharaj, that's Prahlad Maharaj. Sorry. So Bali Maharaj said that simply by endeavoring to offer obeisances to you, you've given such results. So, which even the demigods couldn't expect, like that. And so with great gratitude, he went to Sutala planets. He entered Sutala planets. And now Prahlad Maharaj is offering prayers. Yes? So I'll just, yeah. Thus having delayed, and then the Lord gave the kingdom, heavenly kingdom, back to the demigods. And Aditi was very satisfied. Finally, her sons got the kingdom back. Now, Prahlad Maharaj, it is said, heard. So Prahlad Maharaj is offering obeisances to Vaman Dev, seeing or hearing how Bali Maharaj is favored by the Supreme Lord, isn't it? So he begins to speak. So this is important. What did Prahlad Maharaj say? Text 6. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, you are universally worshipped. Even Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva worship your lotus feet. Yet, although you are such a great personality, you have kindly promised to protect us, the demons. I think that such kindness has never been achieved even by Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, or Goddess Lakshmi. What to speak of other demigods or common people? So you gave mercy to us demons who are insignificant, such mercy which is not even bestowed upon Lakshmi Devi or Brahma or Shiva. O Supreme Shelter of everyone, great personalities like Brahma enjoy their perfection simply by tasting the honey of rendering service at your lotus feet. But as for us who are all rogues and debauchees, born of an envious family of demons, how have we received your mercy? So how can you explain this? If by our endeavor we are going to achieve, the Lord's favor, then okay, you can say, then Lord Brahma and, Lakshmi Devi, they got favor because they are so exalted. But we are not exalted, still we are getting mercy means what? That means your mercy is causeless, right? Your pastimes are all wonderfully performed by your inconceivable spiritual potent energy, and by her perverted reflection, the material energy, you have created all the universes. As the super soul of all living entities, you are aware of everything, and therefore you are certainly equal toward everyone. So this is what we discussed, how the Lord is equal to everyone. He is like a desire tree. Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshosti na priyaha. But if anyone comes to render devotional service to him, then he treats him as his friend. He gets special attention. And that position of devotional service of a devotee is available to everyone. It's just a matter of acting as his devotee, behaving as his devotee. Then you get the special favors of the Lord. Then, yes, the Lord instructed Prahlad Maharaj, I'm very pleased with you. You also go to Sutala planet for the time being. Then the Lord is assuring Prahlad Maharaj. Well, that we have to start, I think, right? We have to start. Let me see, 1 second. Yeah, we have to start with 10. That's right. So this is what happened. We didn't read 10. This is the bookmark I have.
Okay.
Yeah. So Prahlad Maharaj offered prayers. Prahlad Maharaj said that the way you have favored us, that type of mercy even great demigods didn't receive. And then he said that you are like a desire tree, and how you are present everywhere, you know everyone, right? And you are equal to everyone. You know everyone because you're there in everyone's heart as Paramatma, and you're equal to everyone. You're giving everyone the results of their activities. You're equal to everyone. But at the same time, when somebody becomes a devotee, then they get special favor. Therefore, you're acting like a desire tree, right? If somebody approaches you for something, he'll get that. So after this, the Lord said, I'm very pleased with you for the time being. Now you go to Sutala planet. Let's see what happened after that. Text 10. Inba, your turn today. Nityam drashtasi mam tatra gadapanim avasthitam maddarshana mahalada dhvasta karma nibandhanaha. Yes.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead assured Prahlad Maharaj, you shall be able to see me there in my usual features, one shell, disc, club and lotus in my hand. Because of your transcendental bliss, due to always personally seeing me, you will have no further bondage to fruitive activities.
Okay. Purport, Inia.
Purport. Karma bandha, the bondage of fruitive activities, entails the repetition of birth and death. One performs fruitive activities in such a way that he creates another body for his next life. As long as one is attached to fruitive activities, he must accept another material body. This repeated acceptance of material bodies is called samsara bandhana. To stop this, a devotee is advised to see the Supreme Lord constantly. The Kanishta Adhikari or neophyte devotee is therefore advised to visit the temple every day and see the form of the Lord regularly. Thus, the neophyte devotee can be freed from the bondage of fruitive activities.
Yes. So what did Vamandev say to Prahlad Maharaj? You shall be able to see me there in my, so you go to Sutala planet for the time being. I'm very happy with you. And what will happen there? There you will see me in my usual feature with Shankha Chakra Gada Padma in Vishnumurti form. And because of your transcendental bliss due to always personally seeing me. Same thing the Lord told to Bali Maharaj also. Bali Maharaj was concerned that while I'm there, because of association with demons, I'll be once again overtaken by these material, greed and things like that. These material qualities will overtake me. Then the Lord said, no, I will be there personally and you will be able to see me. So therefore you will not be touched by these qualities. So the Lord is telling Prahlad Maharaj also, you will be experiencing transcendental bliss by seeing me always. That means you will be always Krishna conscious because you are seeing the Lord all the time. And seeing Krishna means, like Kunti Maharani says, give me troubles, difficulties. Because when there are difficulties, I'm always remembering you. Remembering Krishna is as good as seeing Krishna. And when we see Krishna, then we don't see repeated birth and death. So if we are always seeing Krishna by way of remembering him, chanting his names, hearing about him, that means there is no repeated birth and death. They don't go together, right? They repel each other. So if you are Krishna conscious, then you cannot have repeated birth and death. So the Lord is saying, because I will be there, you will be seeing me all the time. So you will be in ecstasy, in bliss, seeing me all the time. So you will have no further bondage to fruitive activities. So bondage to fruitive karma nibandhanaha means when you have bondage of karma, that's when you have to take birth again. If the karma is not binding you, then you don't have to take birth, right? Karma means you do an activity and then that activity will give you a reaction. To take that reaction, you have to take birth again. But if you don't do any karma, right? That means karma means whatever you are doing, it does not give any reaction. When is that possible? That is possible when you are doing devotional service, because devotional service is akarma. Of course, even nishkam karma also does not give reaction. But the point is you will not have repeated birth and death. That's what Srila Prabhupada is explaining. Repeated acceptance of material bodies is called samsara bandhana, right? Samsara bandhana. To stop this, a devotee is advised to see the Supreme Lord constantly. The Kanishta Adhikari means a neophyte devotee. You have Kanishta, Madhyama and Uttama Adhikari. Madhyama Adhikari means he's already Ananya Bhakta. When you say Madhyama Adhikari means he's Ananya Bhakta, he's entered into Ananya Bhakti. That means we all qualify for Kanishta Bhaktas only. So these are applicable to us. You should see the deity every day, right? By this, what will happen? So our Shraddha or faith in karma will go down. Karma bandha. So as long as one is attached to fruitive activities, that's the thing. Shraddha or taste. Why we do karma? Because we have a taste for karma or because we have faith in karma. By seeing the Lord repeatedly, by taking darshan of the Lord regularly, what happens is you will lose your taste and your faith in karma. And then by this you become free from the bondage created by karma. Okay, next. Sri Shuka Uvacha Agyam Bhagavato Rajan Praharado Balina Saha Badham Ityamala Pragyo Murdhnya Dhaya Kritanjalihi Parikramyadi Purusham Sarvasura Chamupatihi Pranatastad Anugyataha pravivesha mahabilam. Okay, Mataji is going to read. Jai Shri Mataji.
Hare Krishna, yes, ma'am. Srila Sukadeva Goswami said, accompanied by Bali Maharaja, my dear King Parishit, Prahlada Maharaja, the master of all the chiefs of the demons, took the Supreme Lord's order on his head with the folded hands. After saying yes to the Lord, circumambulating him and offering him respectful obeisances, he entered the lower planetary system known as Sutala.
Yes. So Bali Maharaj entered Sutala planets. So along with, Prahlad Maharaj entered. Along with Bali Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj also entered into Sutala planets. How? Taking the order of the Lord on his head with folded hands and saying to the Lord, yes, I will do as you say. And doing parikrama of the Lord, pradakshina of the Lord, circumambulating him, offering him respectful obeisances, he entered lower planetary system. So what did the Lord say to Prahlad Maharaj? The Lord said to Prahlad Maharaj, I am very pleased with you. For the time being, you go to Sutala planet, and also I will be there with you because of constantly seeing me. You will be freed from all fruitive activities. That means there won't be any repeated birth for you. And then after listening to this, Prahlad Maharaj along with Bali Maharaj took the order with folded hands upon his head and said, yes, I will do as you say. He did parikrama of the Lord, offered obeisances, and they entered into Sutala planet. Next. अथाहो हशन सम्राजन अथाहो शन सम्राजन हरिर्नारायणोन्तिके आसीनं ऋत्विजां मध्ये सदसि ब्रह्मवादिनाम्. Okay, Prabhuji is not there, right? Jai Ganesh Prabhu is not there.
Yes, Mataji, yes, he's
there.
Yes, Mataji. Yeah, no, he's not there.
He's not there. Okay. Isha, Krishna, Shish, Madhava, Rasapriya. Anyone's there?
Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan, thereafter addressed Sakracharya, who was sitting nearby in the midst of the assembly with the priests, Brahma, Hota, Udgata, and Advarya. O Maharaj Pariksit, these priests were all Brahmavadis, followers of the Vedic principles for performing sacrifices.
So, after they left, Prahlad Maharaj and Bali Maharaj left, Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan, addressed Shukracharya. This is Vamandev in the form of Hari. He is addressing Shukracharya, who was sitting nearby in the midst of the assembly with the priests. So, what was happening when Vamandev arrived? There were yagyas going on and being performed by the Brahmanas, priests. So, in the Upanishads, we see whenever there's a fire sacrifice, 4 types of priests sit on 4 sides of the sacrifice, and each one is known by a particular name. One priest is called Brahma, one is called Hota, one is called Udgata, one is called Advaryu. Each priest is expert in one of the Vedas. You have Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, Atharva Veda. So each priest is expert in the mantras of one particular Veda. So like that. So you have 4 of them sitting. So Shukracharya was sitting with these priests in that sacrifice. O Maharaj Parikshit, these priests were all Brahmavadis, right? Brahmavadis. That means they see the Param Tattva in the form of Brahman. That's the ultimate absolute truth. Followers of the Vedic principles for performing sacrifices. Next, Krishna Shish. Brahman santano shishyasya karma chidram vitanvataha yattat karmasu vaishamyam brahma drishtam samam bhavet.
Acharya, please describe the fault of or discrepancy in your disciple Bali Maharaj, who engaged in performing his sacrifices.
His fault will be nullified when judged in the presence of qualified brahmanas.
Yes. So what is the Lord saying to Shukracharya? Please describe the fault or discrepancy in your disciple Bali Maharaj who engaged in performing sacrifices, right? Shukracharya cursed, right? Bali Maharaj. So he was engaged in performing these sacrifices. Please tell us if there was any discrepancy in the performance of sacrifice. This fault will be nullified when judged in the presence of qualified brahmanas. So let's read Srila Prabhupada's purport. Madhav.
Maharaj departed for the planet Srila. Lord Vishnu asked Shukracharya what the fault was in Bali Maharaj. Shukracharya had cursed him. It might be argued that since Bali Maharaj had now left the scene, how could his fault be judged? In reply to this, Lord Vishnu informed Shukracharya that there was no need for Bali Maharaj's presence, for his faults and discrepancies could be nullified if judged before the Brahmanas, as will be seen in the next verse.
Next verse, comma.
In the next verse, Bali Maharaj had no faults. Shukracharya had unnecessarily cursed him. Nonetheless, this was better for Bali Maharaj. Being cursed by Shukracharya, Bali Maharaj was deprived of all his possessions, with the result that the Supreme Personality of Godhead favored him for his strong faith and devotional service. Of course, a devotee is not required to engage in fruitive activities, as stated in the Shastra.
Sarvarhanam Bhagavatam 431.
By worshipping Achyuta, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, won't satisfy everyone. But because Bali Maharaj had satisfied the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there was no discrepancies in his performance of sacrifices.
Yes. So, what is the purpose of the Lord's asking Shukracharya, please tell me if there's any discrepancy in the sacrifice performed by Bali Maharaj? Why he's saying that? Because Shukracharya was angry with Bali Maharaj and he cursed him. That means, when are you punished? You are punished when you do something wrong. When you break some law, then you get punishment. So, Shukracharya is the guru and he has cursed his disciple. That means Bali has done something wrong. Can you please point out where Bali, went wrong? Where there was a discrepancy in his behavior, discrepancy from what is said in the Shastras, from what he's supposed to do. What was his fault? Why he's saying that? Why the Lord is saying that? And then this, the Lord said after Bali Maharaj left. Bali Maharaj went to Sutala planet. Bali Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj left. Now the Lord is speaking to Shukracharya. Can you tell me what is his fault? Then here a question may be raised. But see, whenever there is a case, the criminal is also there, right? And then he's judged. He gets an opportunity to speak, and also, it happens in his presence. So if Shukracharya has a question, but why you are asking me to, or why you are discussing this case now in the absence of Bali Maharaj after he left? So the Lord's answer is, it's not required. Bali Maharaj's presence is not required. Even if there is any fault in him, when that fault is discussed in the presence of all these brahmanas, then his fault is going to be nullified. So please tell. Then of course, Srila Prabhupada is saying, in reality, there was no fault on Bali Maharaj's part. We will see that in the next verse. Yes. So he actually didn't, there was no discrepancy. On the contrary, because the thing is, if you satisfy, Krishna is the root of the tree. If you satisfy the root, then the entire tree is satisfied. So he, in order to satisfy the Supreme Lord, just like you have a higher dharma, right? You have in Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says, there is Artha Shastra, there is Dharma Shastra, there is Jnana Shastra, like that. But the topmost is to please Krishna. Ultimately, Krishna says, right? Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. So if you simply surrender to Krishna, if you simply please Krishna, even if you are not fulfilling the conditions of the other lower dharmas, still you are protected. There is no fault on your part. And Bali Maharaj did that. In order to please Krishna, in order to satisfy Krishna, he even disobeyed his guru like that. So what was his fault? Can you please tell me? And when that fault is discussed in the presence of Brahmanas, his fault will be nullified. And in reality, so this is the Acharya is telling us, in reality, there was no fault on Bali Maharaja's part. He did the best, but still, so Shukracharya's cursing Bali Maharaj is not justified at all, because Shukracharya is a learned person. He's supposed to know what is the highest dharma. So his cursing Bali Maharaj is not at all justified. Unnecessarily he cursed Bali Maharaj, but still it is to Bali Maharaj's credit only. Shukracharya's cursing Bali Maharaj is to his credit. How? Because this gives Bali Maharaj an opportunity to show the world how much he is fixed in his devotional service. So, like that. Yes, Inia, you raised your hand. Okay. Yeah. Inia, anybody, did you raise your hand?
No, Mataji.
Okay. All right. So, continuation. Yeah. Yeah. And also, as stated in the Shastra, Sarvarhanam Achyuteja. So if you are worshipping Achyuta Ijya means worshipping Achyuta, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then everyone is satisfied. If you satisfy the Lord, everyone is satisfied. So therefore, Bali Maharaj satisfied Krishna. There cannot be any discrepancies in the performance of sacrifices. So that's how we can check if our activities are right or not. Is the Lord satisfied with my activities? Text 15. Suvarnangi Mataji, you are raising your hand.
Mataji, I have a question here, Mataji.
Yeah.
So they were performing a sacrifice, Mataji, but to please whom, Mataji? Like, what was their...
Yeah, so Mataji, sacrifices come under karma. You have Nitya karma, Naimittika karma, Kamya karma, Nishiddha karma, Prayaschitta karma. So Nitya karma is also like, chanting Gayatri and regularly, whatever worship that you do on a regular basis, that is called Nitya karma, religious activities that you do on a regular basis. Naimittika karma means those religious activities which you do on at specific intervals, or like samskaras, for example, right? Jata karma, then vivaha samskara, upanayana samskara, like that, which are done at certain stages. These are naimittika karma. So here you are asking what type of sacrifice is Bali Maharaj doing. So they were already engaged in performing sacrifice, that is kamya karma. What is their desire? Kamya means to get some material desire fulfilled, you do some sacrifices. Like you can have putreshti, kamya karma. You want a son, for that you perform a sacrifice. So what is it that Bali Maharaj wanted? Bali Maharaj wanted, so this, he had conquered the heavenly planets by force. By force he conquered. But now Shukracharya wanted to give him that pious credit by performing these sacrifices, by which he would actually qualify to become the king of heaven. For that he is doing sacrifices.
Okay. Mataji, when Shukracharya is a learned person, why is he not able to see that the Lord is the Supreme Personality of God? It's just my ignorance.
Yes, Mataji, because he is not a devotee. You see, he is not able to see, just like this. That's why it is said, even in the Vedas, Vedeshu Durlabham, right? Vedeshu Durlabham. By studying the Vedas, it's very rare, it is Durlabh. It's very difficult to understand the Supreme Lord by studying the Vedas. What is his position? You cannot understand. But Adurlabham Atma Bhakta. But by devotional service, then you can understand the position of the Supreme Lord. So it is only by bhaktyamam abhijanati, Krishna says, where only by bhakti, by loving devotional service, the Lord reveals himself to us. Atah pumbir dvijasreshta, no. अतः श्री कृष्ण नामादि न भवेत् ग्राह्यम इंद्रियै सेवन मुखे ही जिह्वादौ स्वयमेव स्फुरत्यदा. So when we do seva with jihva etc., like with my tongue, starting with chanting, glorifying Krishna, honoring Krishna's prasad, and all the other types of devotional service, when we engage in bhakti, then swayameva spuratyada, he reveals himself to us. So Shukracharya was not doing any bhakti. He is studying Vedas. He is knowledgeable in the Vedas. But by studying Vedas, you cannot come to the conclusion simply by studying Vedas. The best you can understand by studying the Vedas is, it's not that it's not there in the Vedas. Everything is there in the Vedas. This is also there. But we are not qualified to come to that conclusion. But when we do bhakti and now when we study Vedas and everything makes sense, yes, it's already there. Like that. Remember, Vyasdev, he gave the Vedas and he gave the Vedanta Sutras also. But still he is not happy because by studying the Vedanta Sutras, people won't be able to come to the conclusion that now we are supposed to do bhakti to the Supreme Lord. So therefore Narad Muni said, you give again the Vedanta Sutras summary, you give, not summary, commentary on Vedanta Sutra you give as Srimad Bhagavatam. This will tell people what is the goal of the Vedas. So like that, Shukracharya, that's why it is said they are all Brahmavadis. Brahmavadis
Yes,
means,
that's why I got that question, because you mentioned like today when reading they are Brahmavadis, like the 4 yajna people who are sitting towards the 4 directions, all. So that's why I was like, okay, they, even though they saw the Lord, they will, it's like they won't.
yeah,
Okay, okay.
right, exactly. He said this is Vishnu.
Yeah.
he said Vishnu is that Brahman, but still they cannot understand that we are supposed to offer everything to the Lord. He is the supreme enjoyer. Everything should be offered to him. That they are not able to understand like that.
Okay.
They look at him, and also being asuras, they see the Lord as their competitor. It's just you are under the modes. Asura demigod means what? You are under the modes,
Under the
strongly
mode.
under the modes. So when you are under those modes, it's like Arjun says to Krishna, right? As if somebody is forcing me. Athakena prayuktoyam. It's like baladiva niyojita. Baladiva means by force, as if somebody is forcing me to act in a certain way. When we are under the modes, then we are forced to act in a certain way. My thought process will be like that. I'll be thinking in those lines only. So like that. That's the reason. Even though you study Vedas and everything, but still you're not able to come to the conclusion of the Vedas that I should surrender myself to Krishna. That conclusion we can get only when we come in the association of a devotee, and then we hear Shastra from a devotee, then we can understand that conclusion. But otherwise, simply by studying the scriptures, we cannot understand. And also, not simply by coming in association. Sometimes we'll have so many offenses. Even after coming in association, also we don't understand. When that devotee gives his special mercy, then he kicks out those anarthas which are stopping us, preventing us from accepting the conclusion. So when you get special mercy, then we can accept. So if somebody is not able to accept, even after coming, he's coming in the direct association of the Supreme Lord, still he is not able to accept, means they have a lot of offenses in their heart, because of which they are not able to understand, they are not able to accept.
So this is just as I'm thinking, like from my point, like there are 2 ways we can take Mataji when we hear this person. Like one thing is like you should tightly hold on to bhakti, we should not leave association of devotees and practice bhakti. Or the second way is like even after having so much of knowledge or anything, but we will not be able to understand Lord without his mercy,
Yes.
like Guru's mercy. And yeah,
Absolutely. Yes, Mataji. Association is very, very important. And also, it's not by my knowledge that I can understand the Lord. I can have all the knowledge, but still I won't get that conviction, that belief. So, yeah, that will only come by the mercy of devotees, mercy of the Lord.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Okay. So, 7:45. Let's read a little bit more and then we'll do Bhagavad Gita. Sri Shukra Uvacha. So the Lord said, what did the Lord say? tell me what is the discrepancy or fault in Bali Maharaj's sacrifice. And if there is any fault, by discussing in the association of these Brahmanas, that fault can be nullified. So Shukracharya is speaking now. Sri Shukra Uvacha Kutastat Karma Vaishamyam Yasya Karmeshwaro Bhavan Yagyesho Yagya Purushaha Sarva Bhavena Pujitaha. Translation. So Rasapriya read. Next, I think Kalpesh Prabhu and Sonia Mataji. Translation.
Shukracharya said, "My Lord, you are the enjoyer and the lawgiver in all performances of sacrifice, and you are the Yagna Purusha, the person to whom all sacrifices are offered. If one has fully satisfied you, where is the chance of discrepancy or
In this performance of sacrifice. Yes. So Mataji, Sonia Mataji, read the purport.
Yes, Mataji. In Bhagavad Gita 5.29, the Lord says, Bhoktaram, Yagna Tapasam, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. The Lord, the Supreme Proprietor, is the actual person to be satisfied by performance of yagnas. The Vishnu Purana 3.8.9 says, Mataji, can you read please?
Varnashramacharvata Purushena Parah Puman Vishnur Aradhyate Pantha Nanyat Tattosha Karanam.
All the Vedic ritualistic sacrifices are performed for the purpose of satisfying Lord Vishnu, the Yagna Purusha. The divisions of society, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa are all meant to satisfy the Supreme Lord Vishnu. To act according to this principle of Varnasrama institution is called Varnashrama
Varnashramacharana.
Acharana. In Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.13, Sutta Goswami says,
Atah pumbhirdvijashreshtha varnashrama vibhagashah swanushthitasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam.
O best among the twice born, it is therefore concluded that the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging his prescribed duties according to caste divisions and orders of life is to please the personality of Godhead. Everything is meant to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, since Bali Maharaja had satisfied the Lord, he had no faults, and Sukracharya admitted that cursing him was not good. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. So this last line shows Shukracharya is now admitting this, because from the translation we see Shukracharya is saying, "My Lord, you are the enjoyer and lawgiver in all performances of sacrifice. You are the Yagya Purusha, the person to whom all sacrifices are offered. If one has fully satisfied you, where is the chance of discrepancies or faults in his performance?" Right? So, okay. So, yeah. So you may say, oh, Shukracharya knows all this, right? Well, he knows it, but he couldn't catch the point. That is why he cursed Bali Maharaj. When Bali Maharaj was giving everything, he was saying, he was concerned. What will happen? You'll lose everything. He has come on behalf of the demigods. He's going to take everything away. You'll have nothing. And then his concern is how he will be maintained. If Bali Maharaj lost everything, how all the demons will be maintained, how Shukracharya will be maintained. What does that mean? So that faith is lacking. That faith is lacking. So here, but now by seeing the whole episode by the presence of the Supreme Lord himself, the Lord speaking, Prahlad Maharaj came and Prahlad Maharaj is speaking, right? So now Shukracharya is saying, like, don't humiliate me further, kind of thing, right? So, my Lord, how can there be any fault in what Bali Maharaj did? There was no discrepancy. There was no fault in what he did. Then why did you curse him? It was a fault. It was my fault. I didn't do the right thing in cursing Bali Maharaj. Actually, there was no fault. Why there is no fault? Because the perfection of all activity, whatever activity we do, the perfection is the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. Just like, when we do any activity, when do you consider that activity successful? In the material world, you will say, if you get the result of that activity, final result you get, now then you consider it successful, isn't it? But in reality, the success of any activity is not just by the material result that you get. The success of an activity is how much the Lord is satisfied by your endeavor. If the Lord is satisfied by that activity, then that activity is considered successful. So here Bali Maharaj is doing all these sacrifices. Shukracharya is having him do all these sacrifices. What is the success of those sacrifices? If the Lord is that Yagya Purusha, Lord Vishnu is the Yagya Purusha, isn't it? And here that same Lord is standing in front as Vamandev and he's asking, please give me 3 steps of land. I'm remembering Krishna's pastime. When Krishna went and told, his friends went and said, Krishna Balaram are here nearby in the forest. They are hungry. And, these Brahmins have cooked so many varieties of offerings to offer to the Yagya Purusha, the Yagya. That means who are they offering to? The Supreme Lord, isn't it? So they have arranged all this. And the Lord of all Lords, Krishna, is saying, we are hungry, give me that food, send some food. They're saying, no, the offering is not yet done. Go away from here. But their wives were more intelligent. As soon as they heard Krishna, oh, Krishna is here. How they know? They heard from the, Brajbasi ladies, village ladies, they come to sell vegetables or something and they tell glories of Krishna. So these Brahmanis, they heard. They were very much attracted to Krishna. They didn't care for yagya and this and that, their husband. They just filled up their baskets with whatever preparations they made and they ran into the forest to give their offerings, whatever they cooked, to Krishna and Balaram. So, is there any fault? Is there any discrepancy in their act? It is not even offered in the yagya, it's not even prasadam, and they're going and giving it to Krishna Balaram. No, there is no fault. There is no fault like that. So, Bali Maharaj is doing all these yagyas, and your yagya will be successful, whatever, even if it is kamya karma. You want the result of your karma, never mind. When will you get the result? When Lord Vishnu is satisfied. Here the Lord is personally coming and he's saying, give me 3 steps of land. And if you don't satisfy him and you're seeing he is my enemy, but here I'm doing sacrifices to please him. Does it make sense? So now Shukracharya is saying that there is no discrepancy because you are the Yagya Purusha, right? So, Varnashramachara, yeah. So, why Srila Prabhupada is quoting this verse? Varnashramacharvata Purushena parah puman Vishnur aradhyate pantha nanyat tattosha karanam. All the Vedic ritualistic sacrifices are performed for the purpose of satisfying Lord Vishnu, the Yagya Purusha. That's the thing. So, Varnashrama society means, generally we think, this is also propaganda, right? Caste system means it's looked down, like it's a very primitive system. Started already after 10. So they look down. Caste system is seen as a taboo, isn't it? It's like a bad practice or some, it's not a good practice. That's how it's looked at in the modern world, if you talk about caste system. But actually, it's a very scientific system. But what is the center of Varnashram system? What is the purpose of Varnashram system? People don't have any idea. They think Varnashram system means Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras. People are divided, and this is a low class person, that's a high class person. Some people are exploited, some people are enjoying. No, the center of Varnashram system is Vishnu. It's the most advanced society. A Varnashram society is the most advanced society because everyone is progressing in such a society. Because the center of Varnashram is Lord Vishnu. It does not matter. Yesterday also we were reading Chaitanya Charitamrita yesterday evening. Whether you are a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, or even a Hadi. Hadi means a Bhangi who's clearing stool, right? Cleaning stool. Everyone can become a devotee. Everyone can render devotional service to the Lord. Nobody is stopped. Nobody is stopped from chanting the names of the Lord, from hearing Krishna Katha, from taking darshan of the Lord. Nobody is stopped. Bhakti is available for everyone. So in Varnashram system, regardless of what group you belong to, the perfection of all your activity is to please the Lord. That means you offer all your work to Lord Vishnu. This is a Varnashram society. That's what is said here also. And Inia is saying that today in her history class, her teacher was telling the class about Varnashram. What did the teacher say, Inia? Can you share with us?
Mataji, she was talking about the Brahmana and Kshatriya and also how they
What their activities are?
yeah, yes, Mataji, Brahmana study the Vedas.
So what she's saying?
Kshatriyas rule.
Yeah, they rule. So was she saying it in a positive way? What was the message that was given?
Mataji, it was more of what they did, Mataji.
Information, like history. Right.
Yes, Mataji.
Not about how it is relevant in the society or what its benefits are, nothing like that.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, at least it is good that they mention that. So that's also good. Even the word Varnashrama is mentioned. That's good. But that's not enough. It is not something that was in the past. Just like the Vedas and the Vedic knowledge is not for the past, or it's not history, something that used to happen in the past. It's very much relevant today and future also. Kalpesh Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Mataji. So this question in my mind that what could be the reason why Varnashram system failed? Being keep understand like from principal position, I understand that it is Vishnu is in the center, and that is how, and it is based on qualification. But let's say I'm just thinking loud in my mind right now, and if a bhangi comes whose occupation is to do cleaning of the drainage, like stool stuff, and if he has to come to the temple, then how would somebody will accept, because it's very difficult, because he might not be hygiene enough by keeping his body clean, that may be the reason he is not qualified. I'm thinking that may be the reason why. Did Brahmana never reached out to them, giving the right education of keeping cleanliness of the body, and that's how this system got like untouchability in the like society, because if they don't keep their body clean, nobody wants to be around them, because they will be with the disease, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, like, and when I see the modern system, right, it's not Varnashram system, but we do have like engineers, doctors, and others professions. So again, it is broken down with some kind of qualification. Here in this modernity, we have center is money. Money is our center. If money, then you have a prestige. If you don't have a money, then that is how people make friendships.
Yeah.
So according to your how much you are qualified in terms of material, and secondly, you are how much you have the opulences, like in terms of money. So this is the I. But what I'm could be the reason we have to revive this movement, and we have to think about varnashram. Then we need to also think like what were the things over the like several yugas, what thing didn't work, and is Brahman who will be the responsible? Like
Yeah.
who is responsible for this?
You actually caught the point right, Prabhuji. The Brahmins will be held responsible because the Brahmins are the head. They are the ones that are supposed to direct the society. And we are reading also in Srimad Bhagavatam first canto, when Shringi cursed Parikshit Maharaj, there it is said, at that point Kali entered. Kali was there already, but he was under bay. He was under control because Parikshit Maharaj gave him those places to stay which didn't exist. In Parikshit Maharaj's rule, those places didn't exist, where people were taking intoxication and doing illicit sex and gambling and meat eating. These things were not happening. So Kali was really not thriving. He was not really flourishing. But when Shringi cursed Parikshit Maharaj, then Kali came in full-fledged. So in that discussion, it is said, by the influence of Kali Yuga, this Shringi, who was a Brahmana boy, he cursed Parikshit Maharaj. How this boy came under the control of Kali? Because he was a small boy. He was not as, strong as he was vulnerable. Being a small boy, he was vulnerable. So Kali took him. So what we understand is the Brahmanas, because of the influence of the time, it is Kali Yuga. Because of the influence of the time, the Brahmanas became degraded. So how are the Brahmanas supposed to guide the society? They are supposed to guide the society that Lord Vishnu is in the center. We are all servants of Lord Vishnu, and everyone has his particular duties according to his nature. Somebody does worshipping activities, somebody does production activities, someone does administrative activities, and others do helping activities. It's fine. Socially, you may have different positions, but our identities, we are not these bodies. We are actually spirit souls. So, therefore, to progress spiritually, we must offer all our activity to Lord Vishnu. So, nobody is ever barred from worshipping Lord Vishnu, coming to the temple or worshipping the Lord. Rather, the society is arranged in such a way that Vishnu is made the center. The temple is the center of the community. Everyone comes to the temple. Every day, we were also reading, right, that everyone should go to the temple, Prabhupada said in the previous purport. So that is a Varnashram society. Everyone should go to the temple. Then when did this start? This discrimination, they are untouchables, they cannot come to the temple. As far as hygiene, Prabhuji, it's not necessary that if they are doing that work, then they're always smelling like that. It's not necessary. You do that work and then you take bath and you're not living in that situation. You go and clean others' homes, you clean up and then you come home and you live your life. It's not necessary that he's a dirty person all the time. No. On the contrary, I have seen those who do this type of work, they're really, they dress themselves nicely, they clean themselves very nicely. I've seen ladies who do this work, they look really, nicely dressed, and they come and they clean and they go away. So it's not true that if they're doing that type of work, then they're dirty, therefore they are not fit to come. Yes, in worship you have Brahminical duties. You have the altar and you have direct service to the deities that others cannot do. But as you can enter the temple, you take darshan of the Lord, you attend arati, you sit in the class. This is open to everyone. And of course, we are expected to maintain cleanliness. Certainly, you have to take bath and come to the temple. That is expected. But you are not allowed to go and worship the Lord directly on the altar. That the Brahmanas will do. So, when did this whole thing start about this discrimination and making them untouchables? Again, the Brahmanas are responsible for that. They became selfish, right? They started enjoying their position and enjoying the material benefits that are coming by being the heads. And why did this happen? This happened by the influence of time. So actually, Varnashram system means Lord Vishnu should be satisfied by that work. But over the period, people became means some leaders came like that. Some leaders came and they gave their philosophy. So they will teach Varnashram system, but with a particular angle, right? Like now Varnashram system with the motive of material advancement. You follow Varnashram system, but the idea is by this Varnashram system, dharma, artha, kama. You do dharma so that you will get artha. Like you were saying, people are wealthy. You want to make friends with those who are wealthy, right? Who have some position, who have money, how much assets they have, how much income they make. You want to make friends with that. Like that, we will follow dharma. We will follow dharma if this dharma is going to give me artha. But that is not the purpose. That's not the purpose. But different from time to time, different leaders have come who are propounding this Varnashram system, but with a particular, emphasis. So that's why you have Karmi Varnashram system. Karmi means the goal of following Varnashram system is sense gratification. Earn wealth, become opulent, enjoy life. By following Varnashram system, you'll live nicely. Then there is Jnani Varnashram system during Shankaracharya period. The goal of following Varnashram system is to get liberation, moksha, go and merge into Brahman. That's the purpose of following Varnashram system. Ultimate goal is moksha, you go and merge into the Lord. There's no point of please Lord Vishnu. That's not there. So this happened way after Vyasadeva gave Srimad Bhagavatam. In Srimad Bhagavatam, the shloka is there. Atah pumbir dvijashreshta varnashrama vibhagashaha swanushthitasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam. Haritoshanam means Hari's pleasure. Perfection of all your activity in varnashram is when Hari is satisfied. That is not said. Varnashram means you have to go and merge. So those influences are there in the society. Influence of Karmi Varnashram is there in the society. So now we have to revive this as Daiva Varnashram society. Daiva Varnashram means the center of Varnashram duties is to please the Lord. And that is the whole purpose of Varnashram. Was that okay? Yeah. Thank you. So let us stop here and
how many numbers of Brahmins should be there to revive? Like, if we are 800 crore people right now in the society, how many would be required for Brahmana? Like, how many of them?
yeah. Prabhupada gave, well, Brahmins means now we really need devotees actually. Brahmins, but devotees, Vaishnavas we need. So Srila Prabhupada gave some number at that time. I forget now, I read it somewhere. But I think like the devotees that were there with him, even if all of them actually became, pure devotees, then in a matter of, he said, like 1 year or 10 years or something, the whole planet can become Krishna conscious. Yeah, I don't remember the exact statistics, the numbers that he gave, but he said something like that. But yeah,
Like
just look at Srila Prabhupada. Right? You need somebody like that who can lead, and then others will follow, and it will spread. It will spread. Purity is the force.
okay.
It's not so much about numbers, although numbers are also important, but the numbers will come when there is purity in one place, then it spreads so fast, the numbers will come automatically. So we have to really work on our purity of purpose, because Kali Yuga is there, so the influences are there. We are chanting Hare Krishna, okay. I mean, just see how many levels there are. I have to chant 16 rounds of Hare Krishna. Is that all? No, that's the beginning. But then 24/7 I must be doing. So if my endeavor is 24/7, let me be engaged in Krishna consciousness one way or the other. But then what is my aspiration apart from doing this devotional service? What else do I want? I want some name. I want some recognition. I want some profit. I want some distinction. So, so that we have to work on that purity of purpose, because purity is the force. When my anyabhilashita shunyam, when that comes, that I am not expecting anything from my devotional service. First of all, I must be doing only devotional service all the time. That itself is a big endeavor. And by doing that all the time, I should not expect anything else in return. My only purpose of doing this is to be an instrument of Krishna and our acharyas. So when somebody has the purity, then you will see he will touch people's hearts, transform people's hearts, and those people will transform other people's hearts, and it will just spread. It happened in the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was traveling to South India, he would be traveling on foot to different villages, and he would go and he would spend the night in the evening. Whichever village he came to, he would stop, spend the night in that village that night, and he would just be talking to people, telling about Krishna consciousness, doing kirtan, and the next day he would go on to other village. Those people that he talked to, they would go to other places and they would transform. Whole villages would be transformed. Tukaramji is one such person, right? He just transformed the whole. Now, I think recently we had the festival, right? Pandharpur. So one person is sufficient, and he's not even a Brahman, by the way. He's not even a Brahman. So really the power is the purity of devotional service. And we can all work on that individually. Help is there. Acharyas are ready to help. What is blocking us is our own, selfish desires and attachments, which we are unable to overcome, or we are not even willing to look in that direction. We just want to, overlook that. But really, that's where it is. The obstacle is my laziness. Of course, laziness is there, and also desires, material desires. So when that purity comes, then it will spread. It will spread because there's nothing blocking on the way. Purity is the force, Srila Prabhupada says. Thank you, Sonia Mataji. So it's 8:12. Let us see how big is the purport in Bhagavad Gita. Of course, having association is very, very powerful. And association means what? Coming together, hearing from the scripture. That is association. That is association. And this is very, very powerful in building, getting our purity, right? This will actually increase our faith in the process, and then we can improve our sadhana, and by that we can get more purity. Purity ultimately comes only from devotional service, but to do that devotional service we need faith, and that faith will come in the association of devotees by hearing from scripture. Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so we are coming towards the end of Bhagavad Gita. Let's see. 1850. Yeah, short one. I'll just read. Please repeat. Bhagavad Gita 1850. Siddhim prapto yatha brahma tathapnoti nibodhame समासेनैव कौन्तेय निष्ठा ज्ञानस्य या परा. Translation. O son of Kunti, learn from me how one who has achieved this perfection can attain to the supreme perfectional stage, Brahman, the stage of highest knowledge, by acting in the way I shall now summarize. You remember? Okay. O son of Kunti, learn from me how one who has achieved this perfection. What perfection are we talking about? You do your activity without attachment to the fruit. That's what Krishna said. Yes, you do activity means activity which is prescribed to you. Brahman's duties, Kshatriya's duties, Vaishya, Shudra's duties, whatever is prescribed, you do that particular duty, even though you may not be perfect, you stick to your duty and you do that duty without attachment to the fruit. Right? You do your dharma regardless of happiness or distress. You continue doing your dharma. Whether you get and you don't do it with a fruitive mentality. I'm doing this so that I'll get this and I will enjoy. If you do it like this, nishkama karma, then how one who has achieved this perfection can attain the supreme perfectional stage Brahman. That means nishkama karma yoga. Nishkama karma means you're working without attachment to the fruit. That leads to the supreme perfectional stage of realizing Brahman. So remember this, the last 9 chapters are talking about jnana. The goal of jnana are merging into Brahman. That's why here it is said, the supreme perfectional stage of Brahman. So if you follow this Nishkama Karma Yoga, ultimately you'll get Brahman realization. I will summarize how to do that, Krishna is saying. Purport. The Lord describes for Arjun how one can achieve the highest perfectional stage simply by being engaged in his occupational duty. So you don't have to give up your karma. You do your karma. What you have to do is you have to give up your attachment to the fruit of that karma. By doing this, you can get the highest stage simply by being engaged in his occupational duty, performing that duty for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here when Srila Prabhupada is saying performing it for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, of course this is not jnana, this becomes bhakti. That's the difference between jnana and bhakti. They're both parallelly going, right? Someone either takes to jnana or bhakti. Jnana path, he will just give up the attachment to the fruit. He will offer it, but his idea is, I don't want the fruit because it binds me. Whereas a devotee who wants to become a devotee, he also offers that work to the Supreme Lord. Samsiddhir haritoshanam, right? He's doing his duties as Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and he's offering that work, he's doing that work for the pleasure of the Lord. That's what Srila Prabhupada is explaining here. One attains the supreme stage of Brahman simply by renouncing the result of his work for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. That is the process of self-realization. The actual perfection of knowledge is in attaining pure Krishna consciousness that is described in the following verses. So, yeah, one attains the supreme stage of Brahman. And also you can understand when you say Brahman, you can also understand वदन्ति तत्त्वविदस्तत्त्वं यज्ञानम् अद्वयं ब्रह्मेति परमात्मेति भगवान इति शब्दते. That means that absolute truth is only one. The object is only one. He is known either as Brahman, Paramatma or Bhagavan. So you can also understand from the perspective of bhakti, you can understand this verse the way Srila Prabhupada is explaining, that you will get the highest perfection of realizing Brahman means you understand that Brahman is Bhagavan. So you can realize Bhagavan. How? By offering all your work to Krishna. Don't work to enjoy that fruit yourself, but work for the pleasure of Krishna, for the satisfaction of Krishna. You cook something, instead of cooking thinking that I like this food, I'm making it, I will enjoy, or my son will enjoy, or my husband will enjoy. Instead, you cook thinking that Krishna will enjoy. You're still doing that work, but you're actually offering it to Krishna. Like that. So if you do like this, you'll get the highest perfection of realizing Brahman, and that Brahman means Bhagavan. That way also you can understand. So then I know. All right. So Leelamrita, Srila Prabhupada Leelam. Today is Friday. Tomorrow and day after we don't have morning Bhagavatam class. So let's read Leelamrita also. Where's the bookmark? There is no bookmark. Oh, this thing is coming. Oh, I don't see how to bookmark it. I guess I have to do it. Oh. Srila Prabhupada Leelamrita. I'm sorry for going over time. 8:20. The neighborhood. So Srila Prabhupada is going. Yeah. The neighborhood storefronts were colorful and disorderly. Prabhupada is going, remember, with paper, buying paper, printing. The neighborhood storefronts were colorful and disorderly. Pedestrian traffic was so hectic that for a person to dally even for a moment would cause a disruption. Carts and rickshaws carried paper and other goods back and forth through the streets. Sometimes a laborer would jog past with a hefty stack of pages on his head, the stack weighing down on either end. Traffic was swift, and an unmindful or slow-footed pedestrian risked being struck by a load protruding from the head of a bearer or from a passing cart. Occasionally, a man would be squatting on the roadside, smashing chunks of coal into small pieces to sell. Tiny corner smoke shops drew small gatherings of customers for cigarettes or pan. The shopkeeper would rapidly spread the pan spices on a betel leaf, and the customer would walk off down the street, chewing the pan and spitting out red-stained saliva. Amidst this milieu, as the Chowri Bazaar commercial district blended into tenement life and children played in the hazardous streets, Bhaktivedanta Swami was a gentle-looking yet determined figure. As he walked past the tenements, the tile sellers, the grain sellers, the sweet shops, and the printers, overhead would be electric wires, pigeons, and the clotheslines from the tenement balconies. Finally, he would come to OK Press, directly across from a small mosque. He would come carrying the corrected proofs to anxiously oversee the printing work. So we will stop there. Thank you all so much, dear devotees, for staying longer. And I apologize for joining late. I will try to join on time. Hare Krishna. All of you have a wonderful day in Krishna consciousness. And if you're not coming on weekends, then I'll see you all on Monday. And in the evening, of course, we have Chaitanya Charitamrita and Chaitanya Bhagavat reading. Today we'll have Chaitanya Charitamrita, tomorrow Chaitanya Bhagavat. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.